So we're now going to install our side inlay dots. We're going to actually make the inlay dots from this brass doweling that you can pick up from most hardware stores. So I've already pre-cut some here, sort of around 8 to 10 mil long will do. So first we're going to fill up. I've already pre-drilled the holes as well. So we're just going to put a couple of dots of glue in the hole. And then we're just going to place that in there like so. Another one. So we're just going to let the glue cure. Obviously at the moment these inlay pieces are protruding just slightly, so obviously when the glue dries we'll take a file and we'll just take off the excess, and then obviously you're going to be left with a very small pinhole that we're going to fill up with some wood filler in a minute, and we're going to make some wood filler, so we'll do that together in a minute. Right, okay, so we're now going to make some wood filler. Just take a spot of glue like that, and then what I normally do is I always take some sawdust from any build that I do. So I always collect some dust, and I've used wenge or wenge for the bindings, so that's going to match what we need to fill our inlay dots. So we'll just mix this up. And you want to sort of get a consistency of a thick paste, really. Obviously the darker the paste is, the nearer the colour of the actual wood itself it would be. So we're somewhere near now. It's actually quite thick. Yeah. Right, I should do it. So I'm just going to take just a small bit, and then just going to work it into the hole. And don't worry about getting too messy, because we're going to do the fine sanding after we've done this. So it's not going to look dirty forever. So all the side inlay dots are now done. It's all cleaned off. I've still got to go away and do the fine sanding, but after we've done that, then we can actually start applying the finish. So before we actually get on to do the finishing, what we should really do next is actually level the frets and profile the frets as well. So we'll do that together now. So just take your file, and you're going to do between a 65 or a 45 degree angle. Just go along the edge of the frets, take off any sharp edges. That's it. Okay, so that's the profile done. What we have to do next is we're going to mark the crown or the top of the fret with a marker, each one, and then when we start levelling we can get an idea of where we are. So you'll be able to see if any are sitting too proud or too low when you mark these. So first we're just going to reduce them down with a file, and then we'll actually get our levelling beam in a minute, but we'll just take the worst off at the moment with the file. Okay, so most of the frets now, I've removed the marker pen from the very crown of the fret, so we'll just mark these up again now, and then we'll use our levelling beam to get the finished level. Right, so I'm going to secure this neck down now, and I'm going to put a little wedge under here, so when we start applying the pressure everything gets evenly rubbed down. So do that now. Okay, so the neck's now secured down, and I've put some wedges underneath the middle of the neck, so when we apply pressure it's not going to start bowing. So this is our fret levelling beam, and we're just going to literally with our fingertips, because this is solid iron and there's plenty of pressure going down on this, so I don't need to physically apply any more pressure to it. So with my fingertips I'm just going to literally move it back and forth and slowly take the iron filings off. So most of the frets now, I've got the marker ground off now at the top of the fret. So we'll just repeat this another couple of times and then everything should be level. And then we can start dressing the frets after that. So on the levelling beam I've actually put a strip of 220 grit sandpaper. You can put 120 or even more if you want, but 220, you know, you're not actually taking off that much with each pass, so it's quite a gradual process, but we're nearly down to where we want to be now. Yep, that's it. Okay, so we're actually going to begin to start dressing the frets now. First thing you're going to need is one of these fretboard protectors. This is going to sit over the top of the fret, and the top of the fret's still going to be exposed. A fine grit file, and what you're just going to need to do is just going to take off the very sides of the fret, leaving the a very thin blade of the fret still exposed. So it's actually called crowning the fret. So we'll do one or two together now, and I'll try and hold the neck up to the camera and show you what I mean in a minute. I can't actually do this without getting my fingers out of the way of the camera though, so I do apologise. Okay, so that's pretty much it, I think. If the camera can pick it up, I'm not sure. Where are we? So this one we've done here. Let's try and focus in a bit, or out. So I don't know if you can see. There's a very thin blade, the crown just showing, where these ones are still very thick, where I've levelled off. So obviously we've still got to polish them up, but that's what you're trying to get. So all the frets now are levelled and now crowned, and the last thing to do before polishing is just to round over the very ends so they're not sharp at the edges. So you're kind of like left with a little triangle at the very tip. So I'll just show you one or two now. So what you want to do is you just want to round the edge. So you're kind of going around and over at the same time. That's all there is to it. So the last thing to do is to polish them, and we're going to start off by using 600 grit then some 800 grit, and then finally some 1000 grit. You're going to be rubbing that over the fret, and then to finish off with, to polish, you're going to use some wire wool. So we'll just do a couple together now. You haven't got to go too mad, just a light rub over. So 600. $800, 1000. You can see it's sort of still very cloudy, so with the wire wool this is going to shine them up nicely and get them extra smooth. I don't know if you can see, but in comparison to the one next to it, it's a lot brighter and shinier. So yeah, continue that process all the way up and then you're done, and then we can actually start applying the finish to the neck.